Hey Hoover, it's Lyla Cosentino.
And Maggie White.
And welcome to the 4th episode of Hoover Highlights. Today we're highlighting someone who always seems to be working behind the scenes at just about every community event you can name, Miss Christina Weyrick. Over the last several years, she's stepped up as event chair for Main Street Festival, Chocolate Walks, the Holiday Drive, and of course, the star of today's celebration, Winterfest. Join us today as we get to know her better and explore the impact she has on our community.
Hello, Miss Weyrick, and thank you for being on our show today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course, we're so excited to have you here. So we just want to start by talking a little bit about your childhood. Did you grow up in North Canton or?
So I actually grew up in Uniontown and went to Springfield High School. That's where I grew up. It's funny because Uniontown's like, half of it is North Canton, but we always went north. So it took until after college for me to move back here and really start coming south. We always went to like Akron for the mall and things, and now we come south.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Where did you end up going to college?
The University of Akron.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. So did you have any community events like Winterfest or anything like that where you went to college or up in Uniontown?
So in Uniontown, I feel like the only thing we had is Hartville has like a huge 4th of July event, not a winter event. I think after college, I moved to Columbus for a while and worked at Ohio State. And there's an area there called the Short North that would do a gallery hop, which is very common everywhere now, but I don't think it was as common when they were doing it back in like the late 90s. And they would do one in the holidays called the Holiday Hop, where it was kind of a similar vibe. So
well, that's super fun.
Yeah.
So is that what inspired you to get into community service, or was there something else?
Gosh, it's funny. I went to school for journalism and fashion. Like I wanted to move to New York and write for Vanity Fair. And that clearly did not happen. Yeah.
That would have been cool though.
Wouldn't it have been so cool? I know. So that was my plan. But at the University of Akron, I worked at E.J. Thomas at the theater and just kind of fell into the nonprofit world through there after I graduated. I moved to Ohio State or to Columbus, worked at Ohio State for a while. And then when I came back here, I worked for the Akron Symphony for a little while, and just nonprofit kind of took over my world and became something I was really passionate about. So I would say probably whenever I was at the Akron Symphony is where I got a taste of like event planning. They had a big ball every year, a fundraiser. I know, so fun. You get to get all dressed up. I know. So yeah, we did that, and we would do, for donors like pre-concert events, and just that's really where I got the first taste of nonprofit and events.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
What led you from there to get involved with Winterfest?
So after living in Columbus, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky for a little while, and my son was born there in 2006. And I wanted to move back closer to my parents, right? Like my husband and I, we were just like, we need family around. So we moved back and kind of discovered North Canton. Like I said, when I was young, we always went north. Like I literally lived 15 minutes from here, but we always went north. And so, I was driving through, and I'd been used to living in bigger cities that had really cute, walkable downtowns. And we moved to Uniontown for a year, and I was like, I'm going to die here. Like, we're 15 minutes from the highway. There's nowhere to walk. And so we, came to North Canton, and I was like, okay, this is cute. Like, there's actually a downtown here. There may not be a whole lot in it, but it's cute, and there's brick sidewalks, and the streetlights are so pretty. And so we found a house that's very walkable. Like, I live right by the YMCA.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was working from home at the time doing like grant writing for like humane organizations, and I basically just wanted to get out of the house. And so I went to the Chamber of Commerce, which was very close to my house, right on Main Street, and approached their president and said, hey, like, you don't have any social media going, I think I could help you. And they, I don't know why, but I will forever be grateful, created a job for me. And
that is so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So like use that as you guys like develop. like ask for what you want. I'm serious. People don't do it, and I feel like it works a lot of the time. So sell yourself. But yeah, so I started working for the Chamber of Commerce, and then they were the organization planning Winterfest, which at that point was called the Community Christmas Sing. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Community Christmas Sing. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it had been the Community Christmas Sing for, so the first Community Christmas Sing or tree lighting event, I guess, I don't know if it was called the Community Christmas Sing, was in 1919. And the Hoover company started it, which of course they started everything here, right? And so they would have like a big tree on the Hoover lawn, and people would come and sing Christmas carols. Like the Hoover company would hand out, books with the lyrics or the words to Christmas carols, and everyone would just sing together and drink cider. So that's what it was called, I believe, until we changed it to Winterfest, and I wish I knew when that was, maybe 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's super cool. Wow. Okay, so other than that, how has Winterfest changed since you've been involved?
So when I was first involved, we still had the community performances, so like, a time to dance and On Point Arts and all of the local kind of dance groups and performance groups kind of use Winterfest as their holiday performance for families of their students. So that's been going on since I got involved. And then really, I think what happened is we wanted to make it a little bit more inclusive, right? Like no one's against Christmas at all, but there are several winter holidays. So we changed the name to Winterfest, and at that point, I think I was board chair. So I left the North Canton Chamber and went to work at the library, and have been community relations manager there for about 13 years. And so I joined the board of the North Canton Chamber, and we changed the event to Winterfest, and we added, we've added a holiday market, right? Like it's no 720 at all. And 720 has a lot of vendors over, like they do their program at Oakwood this time of year. But, we get still some good vendors. We brought in a DJ, actually, Mr. York. I don't know, did you guys have Mr. York? Teacher?
I never had him as a teacher, but I think he is the DJ at our cheer competition.
Okay, probably, yeah. So he's a teacher at, I think, the middle school. My son had him and loved him, and so we have Mr. York every year, and he, serves as the DJ. Santa's been coming in on a fire truck since before I was involved. What else have we changed? We have food trucks now. And because we're a DORA community now, which is a designated outdoor refreshment area, and the Howlin' Bird is there, we try to drive some support to Howlin' Bird, and they set up kind of a little bar out front, and
nice.
And they also had this year like takeout sandwiches. So those are, some of the things. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was great. We loved it.
Oh, I'm so
We got
glad.
coffee at the food truck.
Good.
That's nice because it was freezing.
Traveling Toms.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So with those new changes and some of the old parts, what's your all-time favorite part about Winterfest?
Oh my gosh, my favorite part. I think I think our downtown is magic at the holidays. Like, I mean, it's not magic literally, but when I drive and like the light poles are lighted and, the library's decorated and City Hall's decorated, I just think it's so beautiful. So I think, my favorite thing about Winterfest is whenever there's always a family or some community leader selected to go up on stage with the mayor and flip the switch to light the tree. And obviously, I guess maybe it's not so obvious, the switch doesn't actually light the tree, right? Like there's like one of the city's electric people over at the tree. But like it just feels like magic. Like someone presses this button, and then, you know, the city electric person he's always very nervous that he's gonna like mess it up or like not hear the countdown, lights the tree, and just the way that it's so bright and beautiful. That's my favorite part.
I remember,
we saw it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mr.
We really
Stroya
liked it.
said it was like Stars Hollow from
Did he
Gilmore
really?
Girls.
Oh, I
Yes.
love.
It reminded me too of like the Grinch when they're all like in Whoville getting the tree together. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, it's really special,
It was.
right? And it's just a small event, but I feel like it's our event, you know? I love it.
It's our event.
It is, yeah.
So, but it does, I'm sure it takes a lot to plan that event. So what does the planning process look like?
So yeah, it does take a lot. It does, and fortunately, this year, so let me just give you a little bit of the background. So the chamber plans the event for many years. And then at some point, they weren't able to continue planning it because they had to like focus their financial resources other places. And so because I'd been involved for so long, I was like, okay, and I worked for the library. I'm like, library will take it over because we're not gonna not have it, right? And so the library, we did it on our own for a few years. And this year I was like, guys, we need help. Like this is like a big event to plan. So the city's always been supportive, but this year they were like 50% partners with us, which was
awesome.
really, really nice. And then Six Mix, I don't know if you guys know Six Mix or Mix It Up. They've been there, I think their anniversary was like August of this year. So I guess like a year and a half. They're on Main Street. On South Main, what are they near? Salon H3 and the North Canton TV and Appliance. Anyway, they're like a little marketing firm, and they're fantastic. It's run by two amazing women, Sarah and Olivia, who are just like, I don't know, I always use the term like world changers, right? Like people who are just gonna get involved and do the things, and they're both like world changers who get involved. And so they took on all of the marketing this year, which is great. So that meant that they were designing and printing posters and hanging those around town and yard signs, and they were running the social media page, creating all of the signage for the day of the event. So I was really grateful that they did that. And then the city took on the vendor market. They scheduled all of the vendors, which was great. And what else did they do? They scheduled the stage. So all of the community performances. So from like 4:30 to 6:45, there are these community performances. So they scheduled those and made sure that Mr. York had the music. And then they also like make sure that the tree is decorated and that the lights work and that electric's gonna work. And then they also take care of the garbage. And so like, it's, like you don't think about all of these things with an event, right? Yeah, and then the library gets the stage, and we rent the restrooms and the tables and the chairs and the heaters, and scheduled the food trucks. And so, there are lots of like moving parts, but it's, much easier when there are a number of people helping.
It takes a village.
It does, exactly, yeah.
So with that big process, how early in the year did you actually have to begin planning it?
I would say, okay, listen, so I was a journalism major, so I've worked on deadline for my entire life, right? And I joke about it, and it's not something that I'm proud of, but it's who I am. So I probably started it like October-ish.
Okay.
But it's like the first weekend in December, right? And so it always sneaks up on me. I'm always like, oh, it's in December, but it's like, it's early in December. So but we probably started around October. For libraries, like summer is our busy time for everything else. So always like once we get through September, I'm like, and then move into the other things. Yeah.
It never stops.
Right.
What's the most challenging part of putting the whole thing together?
Oh gosh, the most challenging part is probably that there are so many people and organizations involved and getting like the schedule. Like I always want to get the map of like where everything's going to be, the site map, and the schedule out. And sometimes it just takes a while to get everything firmed up and making sure that like the performers are, they always typically all want to be right before the tree lighting because more
Yeah.
people are there then, but like someone has to go first. So it's, like disappointing people
Yeah.
is really hard. So I would say those are the
I
most
bet.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news.
Right. Well, and I think one other thing that's challenging whenever I look at like other communities that do these events is we don't have a lot of places to walk downtown. I always say like my favorite thing about North Canton is that we have this safe, walkable downtown, but there just aren't that many places to go. So like Hellenberg is open, but the Pine Cone, which is on the corner there, is closed during that time. And so like my goal is let's get more going on so people can shop in places and go in and get warm. And so I think that's another challenge is just we have lots of dreams for our little downtown, and if we can make those things happen, then it'll be an even better event.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. So we were able to go to this year's Winterfest celebration. So let's take a close look at how it went this year.
On Saturday, December 6th, North Canton held its annual Winterfest celebration. The city collaborated with the North Canton Public Library and others to bring this tradition to life. The event included a variety of fun activities such as a train ride down Main Street, greeting Santa Claus upon his arrival on a fire truck, meeting other fun characters, and shopping at the holiday market. Newly elected Mayor Matthew Stroya helped with the most anticipated tradition of the festival, the lighting of the city's Christmas tree.
3, 2, 1.
Winterfest is like a Hallmark movie. It's the positivity and everything spills over into the community, and it is just such a positive event. So the original tree lighting happened on the Hoover front lawn in 1919, and there was caroling and a large tree, and it has kind of evolved through the years. In 2008, it came off of the front lawn, and we put it over on Bitzer Park in the square. And it's evolved into something a little bit more than just caroling, into large community event. It's become more of a collaboration of a bunch of different things happening together as opposed to just a tree lighting and a caroling event.
In addition to these fun activities, Winterfest also provides live entertainment. This year, that included different dance and choir groups from North Canton schools and the North Canton community. Winterfest is the perfect way to kick off the holiday season. For HVTV News, I'm Lyla Cosentino, working with Maggie White.
So how do you think events like Winterfest affect our community?
Oh gosh, I mean, clearly I did not grow up in this community. I have been here since 2007, but I've never felt more connected to a community in my life. And I think it's because we have these kinds of events, right? Like we've got the Main Street Festival, now we have the New Berlin Festival, we've got Winterfest, we have a North Canton Chocolate Walk. Like I just think those things really bring people together. Anything where you can go out and meet your neighbors. And I remember like when my son was little, the hill in Bitzer Park was like it had snowed sometimes, on Winterfest. And I just remember him and like he would meet up with his little friends who I didn't even know because he was just a little guy, but he would meet up with his friends from school and they were like riding their coats down, they didn't have sleds, but they were like sledding with their coats. And so I think it's where you get to know people and kind of where like community is built. And then, I think, these things are traditions, right? Like I'm going to go to Winterfest every year forever. And I hope that my son, even if he doesn't live here, hopefully, he'll be able to come back sometimes. And if he has kids, bring them. And I don't know. I think that tradition's really cool.
I agree. It's definitely very special.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to students who want to make a difference in their community?
Oh gosh. It's okay, so this probably sounds ridiculous, but I have a favorite quote, which is from The West Wing, which is a TV show. So it's not even like a real quote, right? It's like the president from The West Wing, but the quote is, "Decisions are made by those who show up." And I feel like that is so true, right? Like if you want a seat at the table, because like to get involved and to make things happen, you have to have a little bit of influence, right? Like, and I feel like if you just show up and say, what can I do? How can I pitch in? You know what I mean? Like even you guys coming and saying, hey, we want to film this and learn a little bit about it. Like, then you know so much more than anyone else does, right? And whether you take that with you to college and talk about like, oh, this project that I did was really cool, or, but I just think showing up and making yourself known and doing the work, because the thing about like, you know, volunteering and giving back, and I don't think you realize it until you do a lot of it, is it's more rewarding for you even than for the person you're doing it for, right? Like, I mean, it's not selfish at all to give, but like the payoff is so big. So yeah, I feel like figure out what you're passionate about and connect with people, you know, send them an email and say, hey, I think I could work for you, whatever it is. And and just do it.
That's great advice.
Okay, good.
All right, so for our last question, I mean, this is Hoover Highlights. So what exactly, if you could pinpoint one thing, would you say is the most special part of North Canton?
Oh my gosh, the most special part.
Or what makes it so special, I guess?
Oh gosh, I should have an answer for this. I have to go back to the safe, walkable downtown, right? like lots of communities, lots of cities have a downtown, right? But you may not want to walk there at night, right? But here, like, we're so safe, but we still have this kind of like dynamic, growing, cute downtown with the street lights and with the Howland and Pavs, and you know, like again, it's not everything that I dream of it being someday, but like we've got a lot going on, and I can walk there at 10 p.m. I can, you know, my son and his friends can walk around downtown, and I think that's so special.
It is, and it's so important to feel like you have that, like a safe space to just go. Walk around.
Yeah, and it's not common. Like, I don't feel like it's common in a lot of places.
We're very lucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so, but thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today and talking with us.
Definitely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Christina, for joining us today, and thank you for everything you do for our community. That is it for this episode of Hoover Highlights. Keep an eye out for new episodes on our YouTube channel and other social media platforms. Have a great day.